it turns out we can add multiple backgrounds to the same element. So here we've added a background image right here in the bottom right. Well, we want to add one to the bottom left too. So it's going to look a lot like this one, but when we do more than one background, we don't want to do a second background property or else it will replace it, right? A property that comes after it. The first one will be gone, the second one will replace it. We don't want to replace it, we want them both to exist. So the way to do this is to actually put a comma and start another one. So we can say, here's a background property, comma, here's another one, here's another one. So I'm going to copy that and put it down here. And this one, it's going to be background 3, and it's going to be on the bottom left. And everything else is going to be the same. The 15%, the no repeat, the content box, all of those are going to be the same. So let's do that and save it and refresh. And there's that background 3 image. So now we have 2 backgrounds in here. We're going to do another one. This one is background 4, but this one's going to be quite a bit different. So let's look at this image first. And this is what that image looks like. Okay, and we're going to do this at a step at a time so we can see what changes make, because we're going to use properties in a new way. So again, if we're going to do another one, then we're going to put a comma and say, here's another one. And we do want to do the URL, and this one is in images, so up and, 2 dots and 1 slash, up and folder, images, and this will be TB back 4. So we save that, and now we just have that image. And now it's going to repeat, right? Because we know that that repeats over and over again. So let's go ahead and add the no repeat, because we know we don't want it to repeat. And then just look at it. What does it look like when there's just one in there? So if we look at it, that's where it is, right there. And that's how big it is. Well, we're going to add 2 properties. One is going to be position, and one is going to be size. But they're different values than what we've used before. So for the position, here we've used center, we've been used, top, center, bottom, left, center, right. We've used those. But another property that it can be is a percentage. Okay, and let's look, the examples here help us understand what those percentages mean. So if we try this percentage 50-50, let's try it and see what happens. So here we have the background image, and notice that it's this green square plus the shadow. So it's really a rectangular image that's taller than it is wide. And here it says do it 50% across and 50% up and down. And so you see that centered it by doing 50-50 is the position. And if we change the first one to 100 and we run it, oops, cancel. Nope, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to run. It moved it over. So it says this way, go 100% over, but the up and down do 50%. So if we wanted it back at the other side, we could do 0%. So notice how this gives you more fine tuning, because before we just had top, bottom, down, top, center, bottom. But now notice what I can do. I can do 10%. I can say, oh, I want it more fine tuned than that. So I can bring it down just a little bit. Or I could bring it down 12%. So you just have more capability to fine tune it. Well, we're going to use 100% here as the positioning. So let's look and see what that does. Oops, that's not the one we need to refresh. It's this one. And there, it positioned it 100%. Now this informs you that if you only do one property, the other one is set to 50%. So we set the horizontal to be 100%, right? So it went as far as it could to the right. And then by default, when you only set one property, you get 50% on the other. And that's what we see there is the middle. The next one we want to do is the size. And we know when we're going to add a size, we add a slash, right, between the position and the size. So we know we need that. But what kind of size are we going to use here? So this is going to be different. So far, we've seen how to do it with pixels. We've seen how to do it with percentages. But we're going to use these cover and contain. And these are really different, but they're considered a size. And let's see how they work. So here we have the image, and the cover says be sure and fill up the entire element, even if you have to stretch the background image, even if some of it spills out, because we had to fill it up all the way left to right, and it was longer top to bottom, so we're not seeing some. So cover means fill up the entire element with this background image. If we do contain, then it says make sure the entire image is inside the element. So here, to get the whole thing in, including the square plus the shadow, it had to be sized this, so it fits exactly in there, it just fills it up. And then it left that blank space here. So with contain, the entire image is contained within the element, and it may leave some blank space. With cover, the image, the background image entirely fills the background of the element, but some of the background image might not be visible. So that's the one that we're going to use here. We're going to use the cover. Now remember what it looked like. We have it, we've positioned it there, that's how big it is. And now we add the size cover, and remember that's going to say fill it up all the way. So when we resize it, that's what it did. It took that image, because we had no repeat, it's only one. If we had tiled it, it would have already been filled up. But now we said no repeat, so that one image was stretched until it filled it up. And it stretched proportionally, so it would have gone as wide as it took to fill it up widthwise, and then part of that image would not be visible because it would have fallen off the bottom here. And that's a different thing that you can do with position and with size.